right, let's welcome in, coming off a career season for the Winnipeg Jets and a big part of our Unsung Hero program with Wallace and Wallace Jets, all-star defenseman Josh Morrissey. Josh, thanks so much for doing this. How are you, and how are you feeling?
Thanks for having me, of course. Feeling better. Obviously, it's disappointing end to the season for myself personally and the team, but I'm just rehabbing now and trying to do what I can to get back to 100%, which I have no doubt in my mind I will soon, and get back to training and be ready to try to even improve next year.
Well, I mean, without getting too much into it as far as the injury, but I do wonder, I mean, when something like this happens right at the end of the year, how much is that, or does it all change training and your plan for your routine going through the summer to get ready for next season?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, it won't probably change too much with the injury. My timeline, as I said, kind of my press conference at the end of the year was sort of 4 to 6 weeks. So, that would have had me maybe back for the conference finals if we were pushing it. So usually after the season, I mean, depending on how far we go or whatever, I'll take usually a couple weeks off of most things, doing anything. So I guess the change is I'm rehabbing in that time a little bit. And then usually the next sort of 3-4 weeks are just, trying to get the body back to sort of neutral, if you will, and get healthy. And, there's a lot of wear and tear during the year. So just, whether that's, some physio stuff or nutrition, or just trying to get back to kind of a clean slate before I start getting into the real training again. So it really won't change too much, but just a little bit more rehabbing. And from what I've been told and the nature of my injury, I'll be basically good to go when I start training. So it's unfortunate in the sense that it happened when it did and then wasn't able to play in the playoffs. That was obviously crushing for me, but from a, I guess, recovery standpoint and off-season standpoint, it won't affect that too much.
Josh, looking back at the season overall from a personal standpoint, I mean, this was a career year. 16 goals, 60 assists, 76 points. I know it was so disappointing to get knocked out of the series and have the team knocked out in the first round. But I'm not sure. We're a little bit more removed from it. I mean, have you been able to look back and kind of take it all in about, the huge step that you made as a top defender in the National Hockey League last year?
I appreciate that. First of all, it's been kind of a quick ending since the year finished, so I haven't had a ton of time to, I guess, reflect on the season. Obviously, I was really excited about the steps that I took in my game and the opportunity that I was given this year. I mean, I think that I was able to well, first of all, I worked hard last off season, and it was nice to see a lot of those things kind of come to fruition in the regular season for me. But I think there's a lot of things that on my mind I can improve on, and that's what excites me about the game in general. What's always kind of pushed me forward, and definitely what is exciting for me right now is that I feel there's a bunch of things that I can get better at and work on offensively, defensively. I think I can still work on some things physically to just improve my performance as well. So that's the exciting part for me. I haven't had too much time to reflect, but definitely individually happy about the growth I took in my game. And as I've been saying all year, the stats and the points and stuff like that are function of playing with great players and being given opportunities to be in situations that produce and all that stuff. So it's nice to have those, I guess, improvements in my game, but wouldn't happen without team and my teammates and the opportunity. So it was a great year overall, and want to continue to build off that.
We all remember, Bones talking about the conversation that he had with you afterwards and saying how you were such a focus when he was on the other side. And that, he believes that you can be, one of the top defensemen in the league. And certainly that prophecy came through. I mean, whether it was coaching or particular teammates, was there any real key influence on you that helped you? Or was there just a certain point in time where you started feeling like you were playing at a much different level that translated, certainly offensively, into a season that doubled your previous point total as an NHLer?
Yeah, I think I always felt that I had more levels to get to, just as I do now. And that might not necessarily be just related to points in the future. Obviously, I want to continue to be a real threat offensively, but there's things all over the ice I think I can improve on, and just in all areas of the game. So I think last year, Bones challenged me sort of in the off season, as you mentioned, and I think it pushed me. Like I said, I had a long off season last year without the playoffs, unfortunately, but I really skated earlier than I sort of ever had before. Skated a ton with Scheif in the summer here, and so I think that really helped. But there was kind of a couple games into the season where Bones and Arnie kind of pulled me aside and showed me a couple clips where I made a fine play. It was not a bad play by any means, but they just said, we think you can do more here and with your skating or on those particular plays, and we want you to do that. So I guess I had sort of never had that encouragement to sort of try to do more in the game. That's not really my nature. I think it's more to try to make the smart play. So I think that pushed me forward, and then after that, I guess you have some success and your confidence starts to grow. And I've always felt this way, and say going back in my media interviews and stuff like that through my entire career, I've always just tried to work on my game, tried to get better, and it was nice to see that happen this year. I worked with Adam Moats in the off season as well, and I think for a few years that's really helped my game as well.
Josh Morrissey, the Winnipeg Jets, with us here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. From a team perspective, Josh, I think if you said to most fans at the start of the season that what the record would be in making the playoffs, certainly would have taken it considering last year. There were some real highs. There was a great start. There was also some lows in the second half of the season. When you look back, now that you're a little bit removed from the season and obviously the playoffs, but how will you look back at last season for the Winnipeg Jets?
Well, I think there was a lot of growth. I mean, we were sitting here a year ago, missing the playoffs. Obviously, there was a lot of question marks about our team, and I felt that although we had our ups and downs and struggled to kind of string a lot of it together in the second half this year, I think if we were the same team a year prior, we probably wouldn't have found a way to overcome some of those hurdles and get into the playoffs. It wasn't easy when, things started to slide, and, specifically, our game wasn't where it needed to be. There were some tough moments. That's part of playing in the NHL, and specifically in Canada, the pressure that comes when, there's expectation around your team and all of a sudden you're not meeting it. And the expectation was, because we had such a great first half, so it was valid, it was there. Everyone knew what type of, product we could put on the ice. And when that wasn't happening, like I said, it's tough in any market, but certainly in Canada, with our passionate fans, more media coverage, everything else, and the pressure we put on ourselves. So I think for us to sort of continue to stay in it and find a way to overcome that and get into the playoffs and win some key games, and it was I think a step of growth for us. Certainly, I view it as a journey. That's not where we want to be right now, talking in early May, but there was a lot of positives, and but I know we have certainly many more levels to get to, and that's an exciting thing for me.
Josh, last weekend, of course, coming out, the unfortunate end of the season in game number 5, of which you weren't in the lineup for. A lot was made of, what Rick had to say after the game in the media. But and then obviously what we heard from the players on Saturday. As one of the players and as one of the leaders, I'm interested. How would you categorize the exit meeting? I mean, when you're sitting down, you go for it. I mean, certainly from hearing Chevy yesterday, you said it was a very different tone this year as opposed to last year. I mean, just interested in your perspective on, maybe what fans would be interested to hear about wrapping up the season and what goes on when you're sitting down with the GM and the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of those conversations are, private in between, management, organization, and players. But I would agree that, as I said in my last answer, I think we really grew a lot as a group this year. I think that, a lot of the things that last year we obviously missed the playoffs. We struggled. We're struggling to find our sort of, our identity. And I think this year, as our locker room, I feel like it's never been in a better place. And, collectively as a group, I think a lot of things that we wanted to work on and change and whatnot have really come to fruition. So I think that's the positive side. The negative side, or I don't even want to say negative, but the room for improvement obviously is, for myself as someone who's been around and, I signed in Winnipeg for another 5 years. I mean, I want to have a chance to win a cup. That's why I play the game, and certainly, I feel like I'm in the prime of my career now, and I want to go after it. I want a chance to win, and I believe in our group. So, you want to figure out how we can get over those hurdles and get to the next step or the next level and become a team that has a chance to win. I felt we did this year. Obviously some unfortunate injuries and tough luck in the playoffs, but like I said, that's my biggest goal, and I know that's the goal of the organization. So it's about having those conversations to try to figure out what we need to improve on and work on to get there.
Josh, I mean, obviously a lot was made of, Bones sort of erupting after game number 5. We heard quite a few interesting comments from players, and a lot of people have made this out to be, that they're huge, gulfs to cross or, to bring back. I'm just, as a leader of this team, potentially the next captain of the club, what's the most important thing for this team to do kind of over the off season or coming into training camp next year to move on from that, and if anything, hopefully use that as something that can make the club better and more resilient?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's a emotional game, and it's emotions are running high after every game, wins or losses, but certainly losing and having the season be over. So I understand that. I'm an emotional guy. I play with emotion, and sometimes it gets the best of me. So, to me, Bones has addressed a lot of us, and I'm sure he's spoken to every player on the team. Those things are conversations for guys to have with him, and for, I guess, him to have with the players as well. And, obviously something like that happens, it gets, a lot of coverage in the media and in the press. And, I think that's just part of it. But, for us, I don't think that's going to be a factor for us moving forward as a team or anything like that. It's the end of the season. I'm looking forward already to next year, and, how we can improve as a group, how I can improve as a player, and how our team can take the next step. So, I think a lot was made of it, and personally, like I said, Bones is a great communicator, and I'm sure those things, if they need to be, conversations will be had.
The other reason why we wanted to have you on today, Josh, was to personally thank you for being involved in our Unsung Hero program, along with our friends at Wallace & Wallace, great sponsors, and of course, the Dream Factory. And a perfect way to wrap things up. First of all, congratulating our Unsung Heroes, and thanks to all the Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners that nominated people in the community doing great volunteer and charity work. We had so many great nominations, and again, a quick shout out to our Unsung Heroes, Paulette and Peter Cole, Mark Hache, Pam Bartkowski, Derek Helgeson, Tony Valeri, and Dana Ray. And part of the program was that Wallace & Wallace was making a $500 donation for each of our nominators from Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners to the Dream Factory. And of course, an incredible generous matching by you and your wife, Margot, Josh. And we figured to kind of wrap this up, we'd also bring in Andrew Cussy from the Dream Factory. And Andrew, great to have you with us. And obviously, it's been great to work with you and Wallace & Wallace through. And I know you've had the pleasure of working with Josh for a long time on things like this, but also making impactful memories and moments for young people in the community through Dream Factory events.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for having me today, but for this entire promotion, to you, to Josh and Margot, to our friends at Wallace & Wallace. I can truly say that it means more to us now than it ever has. The Dream Factory, for those who don't know, we're a Manitoba-based organization that makes dreams come true for kids in our province that are battling life-threatening illnesses. Every dollar that we raise stays in our province, and it really is simple in that we meet with kids, we ask them what their biggest dream is, and really whatever they say, we do our best to get out there and make it come true. So we're coming off our biggest kind of first half of a year in the organization's history. Demand for dreams come true has never been higher. So to have the support from you, from the listeners, from Wallace & Wallace, and from Josh and Margot, it means the world to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are familiar with the incredible work that you guys do in the community. They might not be entirely familiar with everything Josh does behind the scenes. And, Josh, first of all, I know our Unsung Heroes are going to be incredibly proud wearing those autographed Morrissey jerseys, and we can't thank you enough for that. But also just to be involved in this. And we figured this was a great time, with Andrew here, to first of all, thank you, but also talk a little bit about your experiences with the Dream Factory. And I was reading through some of the experiences you've done with the kids. And I mean, that Caden who came in and practiced and then went to the game, and you see, he wanted a goal and you scored the OT winner. I imagine, there are ups and downs, and we talked to some of those, and that goes with professional sports. But I imagine this is a great way to, obviously give back, but also maybe keep grounded through the highs and lows of an NHL season.
For sure. It's been just an absolute pleasure to work with the Dream Factory. And selfishly, I honestly feel like I've gotten more out of it personally than what I've been able to provide. There's nothing else quite like it than when you see, some of these kids and their families, and when they're able to have a dream come true, or, meet their favorite player, or in some cases, like you mentioned, skate with the Jets, or things like that are just incredible. And it makes you so thankful, for the opportunity to play in the NHL, and I get to live my dream. And it's pretty cool. I answered in one of the questions earlier, how passionate our fans and the community of Winnipeg is, and what it's like playing in Canada. There's more spotlight and pressure and some things like that, but there's also, I think, some amazing things like, the ability to make such a difference in the community, and the impact that has, and it's something that I've always really enjoyed about playing in Winnipeg and Canada, and the fact that it really matters. And so it's funny because some kids couldn't care less about hockey, and it's pretty awesome to me. To them, I'm just another guy, and it's pretty funny sometimes, but it's just incredible. And the stories of what some of these families go through, and what these kids go through, or siblings, it sometimes it's unfathomable, and it's certainly not fair. So for to be a part of the Dream Factory, and see them on their brightest day having a chance to live a dream and get to go to Disney World or, all of those crazy, amazing things. There couldn't be a more deserving group of people, kids, families, to receive those dreams. So, the more that I guess we can raise and the Dream Factory can, I guess, make happen, the better. It's just it's one of the most amazing things to witness. That's for sure.
And I imagine, I mean, we talk about the attention and the stress, the pressure of playing professional hockey. I imagine, some of these visits that you go on meeting with kids and what they're dealing with, at hospitals and, at home, probably puts a lot of the highs and lows into perspective of what you're doing for a living and the ups and downs of the work life that you have.
Oh, for sure. I mean, perspective is everything. And like you said, I mean, you see what some of the kids go through on a day-to-day basis, what they've been through. Some of the stories, I mean, it's just, it's heartbreaking and emotional and inspiring all at the same time. And so, also the families, I mean, the financial strain and I can't imagine, I don't have kids, but the emotional challenge that must be to just see your kids go through some of these things. So, like I said, you have a bad game, a good game, anything else, anytime I get to see the kids. And I think that's really my favorite part. I've talked to Andrew about it a ton. The more that the chances to meet the kids and see the kids and interact with them, it warms your heart, and it's, the greatest energy lift you could possibly have. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Well, and Andrew, I mean, from your perspective with the Dream Factory, obviously, I'm sure you feel fortunate to have people like Josh that are willing to, lend their name and most importantly, their time to events like this, sponsors like Wallace & Wallace, and the people of Manitoba that continue to support Dream Factory and make these sort of things happen. I mean, maybe just touch on that quickly and let people know if they want more information on maybe some of the stories that you guys have up on the website, or, for instance, athletes like Josh, the impact that they've had, and obviously, bottom line, how people can help out if they'd like to.
Yeah, I think the first thing to say is just, it's one thing to have a spokesperson or an ambassador, but for us at the Dream Factory, Josh is truly a part of our team, and we're regularly in communication to say, what can we do? How can we create experiences for the kids? And it's never a one-time experience. Like Josh mentioned, he's been with us for so many years. There's kids that he's got to see grow up and beat their battle with cancer, and to see them doing well, and for those kids to kind of get to see Josh year over year and have him remember them and ask how they're doing. For kids who are hockey fans, there's nothing cooler than that. And then for folks who are interested in learning more about the Dream Factory and getting involved, there's so many things that we have going on out in community, whether it's hosting a fundraiser, getting involved as a volunteer. All of that information is available on our website, www.thedreamfactory.ca. But I'd encourage anyone listening just to reach out to me directly, shoot me a message if you want to get involved, and I'd love to help make that happen, because right now, with the demand that we have, there's lots of kids in need of a dream come true, and we're happy to bring as many members of our community on that journey with us as we can.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, on behalf of myself and Michael for Winnipeg Sports Talk, we've been so fortunate to have the support of Wallace & Wallace to make this happen, to work with you. And obviously, Josh, we really appreciate you, come joining us to talk a little hockey as well, but also being a part of this all season long. It's been a big success. We hope to continue it into next season, and it wouldn't have happened without your support. So congratulations on a great season, but a sincere thank you for helping us make this happen for the Dream Factory.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Always great to chat, and certainly, again, can't thank yourself enough, and also Wallace & Wallace and the Dream Factory and everyone for coordinating and making it happen, and the listeners' support and everyone who was nominated. We're clearly doing great things, and the winners, congratulations. And again, just thank you for doing what you do in the city of Winnipeg, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Josh, be well. Good luck with the rehab. Have a great off season. Can't wait to see you and your teammates back here in the Peg to get after it next September. And Andrew, continue success with the Dream Factory. Let us know if there's anything else, any way we can help. And a big thank you to the great folks over at Wallace & Wallace for the Unsung Hero program with us on Winnipeg Sports Talk.